Hi, welcome to Silent Symptoms, a Black mental health podcast. I am your host, Katasso Fridge, a Florida-based therapist. This podcast focuses on mental health, stigmas, and social injustices that affect the Black community. This podcast was created to bring awareness about mental health and can be used as an educational guide, but this is not to be used as a replacement for seeking help from a therapist. I hope you enjoy the podcast.
To another episode of Silent Symptoms, a Black mental health podcast. With me today, I have Brook Campbell. Brook is actually on the Senior Policy Advisor Team for Access and Eligibility Services in the state of Texas. Prior to Brook's position, she worked as a disability specialist for over 10 years, helping individuals with mental and physical disabilities, receive social services benefits. She also has a master's degree in public administration with a legal and judicial concentration. So in the beginning of 2018, she launched a blog called Harmony Mental Health to increase awareness of mental health issues, to advocate for mental health care benefits, and to decrease the shame of mental health treatment in minority communities. So I felt like, Brook would be perfect for this specific podcast because when I talked to her, I initially reached out to her and because I saw her blog and I wanted to know more information about what she was doing in the Black community because I have a passion for mental health and what people are doing to bring awareness to everything that we've been going through as a Black community, So I thought she was super perfect because her story about, how she went from a patient to passion, basically meaning that she got treatment for her mental illness and then she turned that to a passion and she wanted to reach out to the masses. So I felt like, awesome, we have to collaborate and talk about what's really going on in the community. So Brook, can you provide us with a little bit of a background of who you are and what led you to seek help for your mental health?
Hi, thank you so much for having me on. A little bit about me. I'm originally from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I've lived in Austin, Texas for most of my adult life. I went to University of Texas at Austin, majored in government, have a master's in public administration. And what really kind of got me into mental health and just thinking back to as a child, being super nervous, shy, anxious, having obsessive thoughts and not really being able to deal with situations the way I wanted to.
Right.
But my career led me to it, working as a disability specialist, like I said, for 10 years. I worked with doctors, psychiatrists, psychologists, even physical doctors, internal medicine, the whole spectrum. And so we analyzed mental status exams, neuropsych evaluations, and I could identify with a lot of the symptoms and signs that the patients and disability applicants were going through. So
yes,
I decided myself to this is really interesting, first of all, and I really enjoyed learning about the human mind, the human experience, thoughts and feelings, and why we do what we do, what dictates our actions and kind of motivates us. So just as far as career-wise, I've always just had a passion for helping people, for trying to get people to a better station in life, place in life. So as far as career, that's where I felt led as far as my passion to just helping people.
Right. So when you first, you work with a whole lot of patients who deal with mental health and physical disabilities. And when you could identify with them, how did your family receive the fact that you were going to go see a psychiatrist and therapist? Because, in the Black community, it's such a taboo to actually go seek assistance and seek help for any type of mental illness. It's no, there's nothing wrong with you. We can deal with this at home. There's no way. Why do you have to see a therapist? Why do you need a psychiatrist? What's going on with you? So they kind of look at you sideways. How did your family kind of receive it, or your friends, or anyone that you shared the information with?
So that's absolutely right. Pray about it. You hear a lot in the Black community, but
God is with you. God is pray through it. That's it.
I just had that conversation today actually, but
Mhm.
but as far as like family, so we didn't talk about it growing up, and um it wasn't even a thought to even go get help or seek treatment, or that was even an option. It wasn't
Mhm.
even like something that people even considered, because
Right.
it was so um growing up I would see like family members, and like I told my mom, she told me today, she was like, don't put the family business out in the street, you know how it's,
Yeah.
I can't
Yeah.
say
Yeah.
specifically who,
Yeah.
but
Don't be
so
telling people our business,
our
and that's the
business.
thing. Like,
So
everything has to be on hush mode. You can't tell the
yeah,
masses, because no way. Like, this is family business. What happens inside the house, you can't take it outside that door.
right.
Mhm.
So, but growing up, I would see different family members or people going through things, and it not being talked about, addressed, or like no one was helping them get treatment, assessment, nothing.
Mhm.
And so when I personally myself decided, my family, my mom was like, why? You know, you can come talk to me, right? I'm like,
Right.
no, not really, because that's what I'm going to.
Mom, you
But
can't prescribe me any medication. You can't
right.
give me advice. It's bias.
Right. I'm like, I know you love me, but I mean, this requires some professional help. But
Right.
yeah. So, but as far as friends, I have friends that are like counselors, therapists,
Mhm.
and like coworkers who had gone through therapy. And
Mhm.
so, as far as them, they were supportive, or they encouraged it. Actually, referred me to some people,
Mhm.
and as I opened up more talking to my friends about it, I realized more and more of them had gone or had therapy or counseling, but we just didn't talk about it. Like,
Mhm.
so as I started talking about that, I went to go to therapy or counseling. They're like, hey, back when I was going through my divorce or was going through this, I actually, or as a child, I went to therapy and counseling, but I would have never known that had I
Yeah.
not like said, hey, I'm
Yeah.
going through some things. I want to
Mhm.
actually go see a therapist. So
Yeah.
some people were receptive, and some people were like, well, I didn't know something was wrong with you.
Yeah.
Like when I
It's
said,
like,
want to go.
oh, why are you saying that? Why do you think there's something wrong with me? And, from my experience, as a therapist and seeing people on a regular basis besides my job, a lot of people do display symptomology of mental health, and people feel like, well, I just need to just let it go, because this too shall pass. Like, we can deal with this situation. And, if I do go to therapy, or if I do see a psychiatrist, there is something wrong with me. And I don't want anyone to think something is wrong with me. So I'm not going to share this with my mom. I'm not going to share this with my cousins or my family members. I'm just going to work through this, see my therapist or psychiatrist, because I don't want to be judged. Because we aren't supposed to tell other people who aren't in our family our business about what we have going on internally. And, I can relate to people saying that, I don't really want to talk about this situation, or I want to keep it to myself. Or, you could talk to me. I'm your mom, I'm your sister, I'm your cousin. Why do you feel like you can't come to me? And, it feels like it's beyond that scope,
Right.
seeking that professional help. How did you feel, though, on your first appointment or going out there for the first time?
So I wasn't used to opening up about my feelings, because growing up, it was like, what are you crying about? I'll give you something to cry about, like, or
Mm-hmm.
nothing's wrong with you. Stop, stop crying or whatever. So the feelings weren't validated, or I wasn't encouraged to have extreme like
Emotions.
feelings. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I was actually really anxious about going to a therapist and talking to a therapist and verbalizing these thoughts and emotions that I had like bottled up inside all this time, because I
Mm-hmm.
really didn't know how to. And the crazy thing is, for lack of a better word, like I was scared of being judged by that therapist, or like
Mm.
thinking like that I was going to say
Mm-hmm.
something off the wall that they've never heard before.
They were
Or
like,
just
yeah,
like, this girl is crazy. but
yeah.
but yeah, and just really letting out all those thoughts and feelings that I had just contained all that time. It
Yeah.
was tough to really take that leap, because I had been thinking about it for a long time going,
Mm.
and my primary care physician actually recommended I go, but to actually take that leap and step, it was like it really having anxiety about it, like
Right.
going to talk to somebody and
Yeah.
verbalizing like what's going on.
Yeah.
that was
And
that was tough.
Yeah, and you have to do some type of introspection because somebody else is actually going to have a glass mirror. They could see into your life so clearly and, open your eyes up to things that you didn't even know about yourself. And I think that may be like the most scary part to come to share with people
Oh, yeah.
about your entire life. Like, am I being judged? Like, what does she think about me? Like, how is she going to receive me the next time I come back? And most people don't know. As therapists, we've probably heard it all. So whatever you come to the table with, we've already heard it. And, people seek that validation and from somebody who has no bias. You know what I mean? So with all that, the knowledge that you gain from seeing a psychiatrist and, a therapist, how did that impact your life? How did that encourage you to pursue mental health advocacy?
So, actually finding a therapist is interesting. Like, and I describe it to friends as like dating. So
Okay.
like, I tried out a couple. I did my research, and I encourage people to like do their research ahead of time, look it up.
Absolutely.
Insurance and things like that. And that's a whole nother issue we can get into, insurance.
Yeah. Because you may end up with that high bill that you weren't expecting.
God, I'm dealing with that right now. Because I mean,
absolutely. Sometimes they don't tell you, they're not forthcoming about, the bill that you're going to have to pay,
Yeah. Or they don't know. Okay, so my therapist, just started her practice, and she's starting to get with insurance companies. And I've actually called some therapists who say they don't work with insurance companies because it's such a pain. And so, and that's going into why I want to be an advocate and provide information, is because navigating these systems can be really difficult. And if you're dealing with a mental issue on top of that, the stress and depression, and then you got to deal with insurance companies, and
you don't have time.
You don't have the bandwidth, the emotional,
deal with the stress that it comes with. And when you do call some of the, insurance companies, you're on hold for like 45 minutes. So anxiety goes from here up to the roof, trying to figure yourself out. Like, am I going to be able to see my therapist, and how am I going to afford to pay this out of pocket if I do get charged? And I do agree with you. Like, there has to be some policy in place for people to be able to get some type of assistance. I know, depending on whether a person is in private practice or working for a nonprofit agency, they have people who actually check your information out if you come in beforehand or give them the paperwork, and they'll tell you if they're able to, accept your insurance or not. If somebody's starting out, that is a difficult place for them because they don't know. They may think that, they accept your specific insurance, and then the claim gets denied and they're not on the panel. So that is a difficult place to be in. So, and I like what you said about, shopping around to see which therapist you like. I always say, before someone goes to a therapist, research. And even if you do meet up with that person, you have to see if you guys are compatible, to see, like, are you guys on the same wavelength? Because you can, they can have the characteristics, but when you are conversing with them,
actually,
y'all don't get along, or you guys are not clicking. And it's okay to say, okay, this is not going to work for me. Let me start over with somebody else that may be on the same wavelength or on the same mindset as me.
Yeah. And what's good with the couple that I didn't actually talk to a few on the phone, is they give you like a free mini session the first time
to consult.
Try to fill out that vibe. And I liken it to like speed dating. It's like you can say, okay, this isn't going to work. Or like, okay, I feel you. This is, you just, when you know. And as far as how therapy, I feel that it's helped so thus far. And it is a process. And it is like really kind of slowly, I'm ingraining it in my life, because 30 plus years of like mental, emotional immaturity, or mental, emotional, just not knowing how to express myself, it's going to take time. And that's what I tell my friends too. So I've been able to verbalize more, better communication with my family, friends, just more confidence. I've been a pretty confident person before, but like learning to control, not go from like 0 to 60 anger wise, because that's how I was before, like because I couldn't identify like the in-between phases, like disappointment, frustration, and just really identifying those emotions and able to like process them, acknowledge them, process them, and then say, okay, this is what I'm feeling, and not bottle them up and then explode, like shaking a Coke bottle,
Yeah.
and all the stuff is going on, and you twist off the top, and then goes so everywhere. Now I can say, okay, this is what I'm feeling, and I can verbalize it better to, like, even in love relationships or like family relationships, work relationships, handling criticism better. Just so, and I've actually been able to, like, my friends have seen a noticeable difference in me, and I've actually encouraged some friends to go to therapy, like Black male friends that, you know, where
absolutely
they're encouraged to be hyper masculine or not open up about their emotions. I've actually encouraged some of them to go to therapy. So it's been really positive.
It is. I think most people too, they feel like, there's something wrong with me, or I'm not supposed to express these feelings. I'm supposed to be a man. Like, men know how to verbalize things. Men know how to handle themselves. So no, it's not okay for me to cry. No, it's not okay for me to express my emotions, because that makes me less of a man. And I just love the fact that you're providing that encouragement. We need more of that. And, having this hyper masculinity and, this false sense of being strong and handling yourself is what is destroying the Black community and Black men, you know? And I feel like everyone needs to be a part of it and have to, see the elevation and growth. So with you learning all this stuff from, you being a client, so how has that helped you to become a mental health advocate?
So that evolved from last year. Like 2017 was really rough for me. I was in my previous job and I just felt stagnant. I felt uninspired, and I was helping people, and I enjoyed talking with the doctors, psychiatrists, psychologists, analyzing the mental status exams, but I knew I wanted more, and I knew that I wasn't completely fulfilling my passion. So, and then there was some other stuff, family stuff and other relationship stuff that wasn't good. Fulfilling in 2017. Actually, there was a lot of bad stuff going on in 2017. So I was like, okay, I need to change. I need more in life. So, and actually last year is when I met a counselor friend, a friend who's a counselor, a friend who's a therapist, and just talking to them about what they do, how they help people, and talking to them about my issues, just them being friends, and then their counselor therapist mode kicks in. And so I'm like, I'm like, these women are amazing, and they're really helping people. And I just started doing more and more research on my own about therapy, psychology, counseling, listening to a lot of self-help audiobooks, psychology books, emotional intelligence 2.0. Really reading, listening to stuff, NPR, listen to NPR all the time, On Your Brain, those different little shows. And I said, wow, this is, like, I already do this stuff at work, and I'm like, wow, I can really
make a
turn
difference.
this into something. Yeah, I can really influence people. And I started looking on blogs and looking on Instagram, like, people are doing this. I was like, I can do this. I was like, and I love this. I was like, you know what? I'm going to start spreading the word. So, it was a slow go process, because I was definitely battling depression last year and, like, really struggling with some, like, drinking too much, and but that's when I was like, okay, I need a change. I need to work on myself. And so earlier this year, I started the blog, and started the Instagram first, and the blog just got going, Harmony Mental Health. And the blog is mentalharmony.info. But I said, I really think God put this in my life, and, like, I found my passion, because I was definitely drowning in just not being motivated and not really knowing where my direction was. And then I'm like, okay, I can help people. I'm passionate about this. And so I'm like, I can spread the word, spread information, knowledge, and I'm here for this.
And I just love that, because, a lot of people think, like, I'm not licensed, I'm not in this field, I'm not a therapist, I'm not a counselor, I have no place in this. We all have a place in this. We all know family members that are struggling with mental health issues. We all know friends that are struggling with day-to-day things. So what have you done to impact them in their life by a simple word, by sharing information, by referring them to a therapist? It's just the little things that people actually do that plant seeds to make something grow, like a nice little plant. So, I'm glad that, you decided to be this advocate, because a lot of people who have these struggles that they've dealt with, they have more of an impact on somebody else's life, because people can relate and say, there are more people out there like me. There are other people who have done this, who have fought through it. So I can actually, help.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and talking to a doctor or therapist can be intimidating for some people.
yes.
There's actually programs out there like peer-to-peer support groups with people coming out of prison with mental health issues, and or even veterans with mental health issues.
Yes.
The government has programs, and working for Health and Human Services and access and eligibility, I get to see all these programs that are provided and out there.
You were able to refer people out?
Give them the information. I'm not an eligibility. I work on the policy team now, so I'm not actually. I don't determine the eligibility anymore.
Okay.
But so yeah, I can give them the resources to where they can go apply, and work being on the board for the Urban League, the Austin Area Urban League Young Professionals. I did a mental health panel earlier this year, April, and I'm doing another one in November. So basically, what we did is I got together a team of counselors, and they were on my panel, and I moderated it, and it was geared toward working young professionals and the stress of professional life, like when to know if you're being overworked, or the microaggressions you deal with at work, or just learning to spot, like, okay, is this more than just a sadness? Am I depressed? Am I anxious? Or do I have a substance abuse issue?
Right.
So we had we talked about like the statistics of mental health, and then had the panel talk about what they do, and then had the audience ask questions. It was really good, really a great conversation. So I'm gonna do it again in November.
Okay.
Because I feel like we need it. We're such on this every day. Everybody's on this grind every day.
Every single day.
So busy, and like we don't take a moment to stop and think, okay, am I okay? Am I really okay right now?
Yeah. Am I just functioning day to day?
Right.
Am I taking those self-care tips that I've posted on my wall? Or am I taking the time to listen to my body? I'm drained. I worked 45 hours this week, but I've done it every other week. But you have to know and listen. Exactly. And most people don't listen to the signs because you carried on for so long in the same mannerism. So I'm fine. I'm okay. Yeah, I have a little fever, or my body's aching, but everything is fine. And a lot of people don't take the time to reflect, especially professionals. Professionals. We always talk about self-care. That's always number one. And learning how to spot the burnout. And it's important that your panel was discussing, how do you look at yourself as a professional? Do you take care of yourself? Because if I'm on zero, how am I going to be able to give my clients or patients myself 100%?
Exactly.
Yeah. So within the Austin Area Urban League Young Professionals, like, what is your role? How did you come about with all of this?
I've actually been volunteering with the Urban League for like 5 years now, or maybe even 6. But in different capacities. I was a community outreach chair at one point, and this year I was a social chair, and now I'm the membership chair. So I've always wanted to volunteer, always been volunteering, like with the National Black MBA and various or different organizations in the community. But as far as the Urban League, I like it because it reaches young professionals. It connects people, and we actually get out there in the community and register people to vote and various other things. And so when I got really passionate about mental health, I saw this as a perfect avenue to reach a lot of people, a lot of young professionals. Because this is kind of my market, my niche. Like, I wish somebody got to me when I was younger, like starting off in my professional career, to really, provide me this information and resources to get help if I needed to. Because there were definitely times I was burnt out. Like, I called in work because I just mentally could not do it. And like, I was just laying in bed. I wish I would have known about this stuff, or how to get help, treatment, or self-care tips. But so I'm using the Urban League as a way to spread my message of mental health.
Definitely, because that's why I wanted to know, like, how are they helping you, help the masses? So when you guys are getting together, so do you promote mental health? What are you promoting within the Urban League? Because I know they have their own, ideas as to how they want, and their mission statement. So how do you fit into that picture?
So the Urban League actually does have a great mission, and mental health definitely aligns with that mission. basically they're the empowering community. And the Urban League, the National Urban League is we're their affiliate as the young professionals. The National Urban League actually provides like assistance for home care and things like that, and actually employs people. Now the young professionals, they're an auxiliary group that raises money for the Urban League. And young professionals are like straight out of college to age 40. And so we all volunteer, and it brings you to these young new faces that are fresh out of college, that are still trying to find their way, which can be very stressful. And so,
navigating
mental health plays an absolute foundation, crucial, vital role in that. Like being of sound mind and emotion can help further your career in so many ways, because and that's why another reason why I decided to seek treatment. I was like, I know I want to do so much more, and in order to do that, I need to really get a hold on my emotions. And so through the Urban League, I've definitely been able to leverage my role and my influence and spread my word and message and my passion.
And bring awareness. I know that we also spoke about the NAMI walk in Austin coming up on September 29th. So tell us a little bit about that, so people who are in the Austin area, or people who are in Dallas or Texas in general, want to know how they can support you to bring awareness to that.
Let me pull up this link. But so on the September 29th, NAMI, which is the National Alliance for Mental Illness, they're doing a walk, and they do it in a lot of major cities. It's basically a fundraiser to help them with their efforts to provide services and information. And I actually had NAMI out at my panel in April, and I plan to bring them out again. They provide different resources, like can direct you to like integral care and different things in your area. So I put together a walk team. Right now it's just my family. Maybe more people are joining, but my mom, my sister, my niece. My niece's name is Harmony, and that's actually part of the reason I named it Harmony Mental Health, because I don't want her to go through the same things that I went through. Mental illness is hereditary, and I don't want. She's such a sweet, beautiful young girl, and if I can help anybody, I would love to help. My niece if she goes through any struggles. And but so I named the walk group Harmony Mental Health after my blog. But so the walk will be September 29th, and they can go to the NAMI website. Where is it? And then you can search Austin, and it's namiwalks.org. So NAMI walks WALKS.org. And then my specific link is let's see. Hold on.
I think you had it on your Instagram. Go check your bio.
It's on my Instagram, but just put in Harmony Mental Health in the Austin Walks, and you can donate. It should be a simple search or link, but I'm raising money to donate to NAMI. We're going to walk the morning of September 29th. And so,
that'd be perfect. And I want to leverage a little bit on what you said about your niece, because I really did want to ask you, it's like, now that you I bring awareness in the community, and how you bring awareness in your family, because you've actually opened the door for everyone to say it's okay for us, to seek help, because it is hereditary, and depending upon, it could skip a generation, but it may catch up with the next person, So how are you bringing awareness in your family? And I know it's a difficult topic, especially us Black people. We suffer in silence, and that's part of the reason why I named my podcast Silent Symptoms, because we do suffer in silence so much. Like, we could be sitting right next to each other having the same problems, but we will never talk about it because that is a taboo. So what about family?
Well, I actually had that conversation today. So I have a twin brother, and I'm trying to reinstate. We used to have family meetings and talks and stuff. We kind of got away from that. So I'm trying to, when I myself have, improved my communication skills, and it's completely visible to my family that I'm making some changes. And so them seeing the changes in myself, they're like, well, maybe we can communicate better, because there's some poor communication sometimes. And it's just like, people shut down or people get defensive for no reason. So I'm trying to, the lessons I learned in therapy, I'm trying to bring them to our communication as a family. And so I'm hoping, it's going to take time, but I'm hoping eventually we're going to get to a better place of being able to communicate better as a family.
Yeah, that's definitely important, like coming together as a family to learn the symptomology and, you bringing awareness. Maybe that's going to encourage everybody to come together and do the things that are important for you guys to move forward as a unit. Us families, we like to sweep it under the rug.
Yeah, and not repeat behavior patterns. That's what I was telling my brother. Like, we don't have to repeat behavior patterns that we've seen or just ignore like issues or symptoms or things going on. We don't have to do that. I mean, it's going to be a little difficult at first, but once you get the groove of it, it'll be okay.
You'll be swimming through it. Like, you'll be like a little fish. So it'll be fine. So I want to thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you so much, Brook, for sharing your story. And how can people reach out to you so that they can know more about you and your efforts to help Black mental health and mental health in general?
So the best way would be to go to my Instagram, Harmony Mental Health on Instagram. And in my bio, there'll be a link to my blog. Sometime I'll put if I'm doing something with the Urban League or with NAMI, I'll put that link up there. But through that way, just direct message me, and then like how we got in touch, direct message me, and we can start a conversation. If I can help in any way, if I can give people information of how to search for therapists in their area or how to navigate the insurance, like what I've learned, I'll probably write a blog about that soon.
Definitely blog about that, because I feel like that is super important. People don't know. They think that, and I also want to mention, speaking on insurances, self-pay. Also, some therapists, if you cannot afford to pay for it, you have to research. Some work on a sliding scale fee, meaning that, they're working according to your income. If you're indigent or if you make a lot of money, obviously you're going to pay the highest price. But if you're not making a lot of money, then you can actually pay at a discounted rate. Some sessions can go for $10. Some session can go for $15, $20. Most people shy away from therapy because they have said, I don't have any insurance. You have to pay a whole lot of money.
It can be a bill. And I was talking about like to try to fit that in your budget. It's so important. You got to fit that in your budget.
Yes. It's just like any other thing. Just like you fit in that entertainment, you can fit in your mental health because it's going to help you, within the long run. So I would definitely be looking forward to that blog. So I'm going to hold you accountable and say, Brook, tell these people about how, they can, look out for insurances and how they could get in contact with a therapist. Okay.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for tuning in. So you guys make sure you support Brook because she's doing great things in her community and, trying to advance the efforts of Black mental health. Okay. Thank you so much for tuning into Black Mental Health. And this is Silent Symptoms, a Black mental health podcast. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you for tuning in. Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe to our podcast. You can catch us on Anchor and all your favorite media streams. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Silent Symptoms Podcast. Let us know if you have any feedback or topics that you would like to hear.